What's good, y'all? I know there's one more series left, but I think it's safe to say that the Jacob Locks curse is real. As you guys know, last night the Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics in Game 7 to advance to the NBA Finals. Of course, if you guys didn't watch my videos, I predicted the Boston Celtics to win, as I'm sure a lot of other people did. And the Miami Heat won. So far this playoffs, I've picked against the Miami Heat in every single playoff series that they've been in, and they proved me wrong. So, shout out you Heat fans, man. I'm gonna keep picking against you guys. That's not what this video is about. I will have another video coming out probably tomorrow talking about the finals preview, the breakdown, stuff like that, giving my predictions. In this one, we're just going to be giving reactions of Game 7, and if I'm being honest, it was a little bit disappointing. We've kind of been spoiled with Game 7s this playoffs, with the Steph 50-piece record-setting, scoring game in Game 7 against the Kings. That was an amazing game. Then we had another record-breaking 50-point game by Jason Tatum against the 76ers in Game 7. And then we had this Game 7, which, I had high hopes. I thought it was going to be a battle back and forth. Maybe history will be made, whatever. Nah, the Celtics got blown out. The game was over by the fourth quarter. And, yeah, it was just a little disappointing. And I do feel bad for you Boston Celtics fans, if any of you guys are watching this. I'm sure, the energy was all-time low when you were down 3-0. You're like, this is whatever, it's over. Then they started winning and winning and winning, built you right back up just to knock you right back down to probably lower than you were before, honestly. So, again, feel for you guys, but shout out to Miami Heat. And of course, we're going to start by talking about the winning team, the Miami Heat. But I do want to talk about someone that I did not think was going to be an X-Factor, game changer going into the series, and that's Caleb Martin. He was incredible this whole series, a real contender for Eastern Conference Finals MVP, which is insane to say. Insane, bro. He was on the Charlotte Hornets, barely getting minutes. He's coming off the bench for this Miami Heat team for majority of the season. Now he's starting. He just averaged, in this Eastern Conference Finals, he averaged 19 and 6 on 60% from the field, 49% from three. Like, elite efficiency, elite production. Played pretty good defense too, switching on to Tatum, switching on to Jaylen Brown, doing a little bit here, a little bit there. He was incredible this series. There were certain games, like Game 6 specifically, I know they lost that to, the Derek White buzzer beater layup, but that game alone, if he wasn't playing, they would be nowhere near winning that game. But there were times he was just their main guy on offense. They were running it through him in multiple different games where they would just be like, all right, go crazy. It's a lot better than the Gabe Vincent ISOs that they were doing sometimes, and then just the contested Max Strus stuff. Their offense could get really ugly certain times, so having Caleb Martin be able to produce as a number 1, number 2, number 3 type of guy is really, really needed for them. And Caleb had an amazing Game 7 to close out the series, putting up 26 and 10 on great efficiency. Again, really needed and really crucial in this series. And going forward in the finals, he's going to have to keep that production up as well. And now to talk about the man that actually did win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, the leader of this Miami Heat team, Jimmy G Buckets. The G stands for Gets. Shout out my man. I'm a big fan of Jimmy. Obviously, I'm a Knicks fan, you guys see. It was very, very tough to watch him do all his, his different things against my favorite team in the playoffs and eliminate us. But when it's not against your team and you're just a casual, just an indifferent fan, it's amazing to watch. I love how Jimmy Butler plays. It's just all effort, pedal to the floor at all times, all gas, no breaks. It's great to watch. When I'm watching Jimmy Butler, what I do to see if he's really just on killer mode, locked in, ready to do, is if he's hitting threes, multiple threes, then I know it's wraps, bro. There's nothing you can do to stop him. It's just you hope he misses. He had on those wings, those two opposite wings, he's just deadly. That's his spot. He just pulled up fading cash. Nothing but net. When Jimmy Butler hits a three, nothing but net, bro, it's looking tough. Then he did it again later in the corner, or later in the quarter on the other side. Cash. It's wraps. Nothing you can really do. Big shots. He had big steals on this game too. Just running the offense, closing out the game as he normally does, getting those runs going. He was amazing. Definitely deserves Eastern Conference Final MVP. I saw some people saying it should be Caleb Martin, which of course he did have a good, good case for it. Obviously, when you look at the efficiency, Caleb Martin blows Jimmy out the water. But that also goes to the different type of shots they're taking. Caleb Martin is on the heater of a lifetime right now. He's on cloud 9, hitting everything. So, yeah, give that to him. He was really, really great. But Jimmy Butler was doing everything else. He averaged, I think it was 2.5 or 3 steals in this series. He was getting rebounds, assisting, obviously the scoring gravity he has too. I think he does deserve it. I know why people want Caleb to get it, but I definitely think Jimmy deserves this one. And the next guy I want to talk about is Bam, and a lot of people are giving him like really like a lot of shit for this series. And I kind of get it, because on offense he was like non-existent in certain instances, where like he had in Game 7 alone, he had Derek White, who's 6'5" on a good day. He's probably more 6'4", and obviously Bam, true center, 6'9". He couldn't even like back him down, wasn't even like really looking at the basket to like aggressively attack it. And that's why Heat fans do get mad at Bam, because you know he's 6'9", super muscular, he's got good handle, good shooting stroke, I guess you could say, but you really want him to go into the basket, drive at the basket, use his athleticism, use his strength. And, you know, my roommate is a big Miami Heat fan, and I was talking to him just like a hypothetical. I was like, all right, if you guys make the finals and you complete this run or whatever, do you trade Tyler Hero, try to get some more, you know, depth and role players around you, instead of having to rely on, you know, like a Duncan Robinson, who was pretty good, but neither here nor there. He said he would rather trade Bam over Tyler Hero, and that's where I think people are bugging. Bam, although he's on and off on offense, his defense, man, there's no replacing what Bam does for this Miami Heat defense. Their whole defense is basically based around the fact that Bam can guard the paint, can switch out onto the perimeter, can guard this guy, everyone on the court. It revolves around Bam being so good at defense and so versatile on defense. And that's where I think Miami Heat fans kind of just throw that away, I guess you could say. Yeah, he's not great on offense. I think that's what he is now. That's who he is as a player. There's no like, oh, maybe he can. No. Don't look for him on offense. Just look for him to lock in on defense, get some good playmaking at the post, get some rebounds, and that's all we're looking for him to do, and he does that great. With that being said, though, you're coming up against the Denver Nuggets, which I'm not going to spend too much time on this because, like I said, the video on that will be out tomorrow. But you have Nikola Jokic, who, you know, probably the best offensive player in the league right now, one of the best offensive players of all time, in my opinion. Great rebounder. He's really stepped up on the defensive side of the ball. So you're going to want to make him work there, get him, you know, a little bit more tired, a little out of his rhythm, I guess you could say. Tough matchup for Bam, but hopefully he can do that. We'll talk more about that in the next video. And now to talk about the losers, the Boston Celtics. Again, I want to give y'all props for making it all the way back, not just lying down and letting them sweep or letting them gentlemen sweep. You brought it all the way back to a Game 7, but you severely disappointed. And honestly, I do think it is heavily on the fact that Jason Tatum messed up his ankle literally the first possession of the game, which really sucks. I was hoping it was just like a little tweak. Obviously, he's not going to sit out of a Game 7 because of a sprained ankle or whatever it is. But you could tell it really was bothering him. He wasn't really driving to the basket aggressive like he normally does. He was really settling for jump shots, and a lot of them weren't really making. So it kind of led to really tough offense when he was on the court. And it's been shown throughout this playoff series and throughout his whole career, Jason Tatum is one of the best elimination game performers in NBA history. They showed a stat on the screen during this Game 7. I think he was top 5 in Game 7 points per game scorers of all time. So, you know, really good company to be up there with. And that kind of goes into the fact that I said, you know, it was disappointing in this Game 7 that it was a blowout. I think if Jason Tatum doesn't tweak his ankle, it's at least a competitive game. I'm not going to say that the Boston Celtics will win, you know, whatever. There's no point in arguing that. I do think it would have been a closer game, though, and that is really disappointing. But what is even more disappointing than that is, yeah, all right, Jason Tatum, your best player, your All-NBA first-team player, he went down. But hopefully we can lean on our other All-NBA player, All-NBA second team, Jaylen Brown. No, he did not show up whatsoever. He shot, I think it was 8 for 23 from the field, 1 for 9, and had 8 turnovers. And a lot of those turnovers were just him dribbling the ball. He got picked. Him dribbling it off his foot, just, you know, losing the ball, just driving. He has no handles, and I know this is a big thing to hate on Jaylen Brown's handles. But realistically, when you're a wing scorer whose three-point shot is not the best, you're going to want to be able to get to the basket. And it sometimes is super difficult for him to get to the basket. That's his strength, his athleticism at the rim, his strong finishing, you know, his light finesse on the layups and stuff too. And if he can't get to the rim, you can't do that. So you got to really work on your handle, get that right. I saw a thing saying he almost had more turnovers than assists in this playoffs, which is really insane to me. He's got to really work on that, and it was a big disappointment and a big reason why they got blown out in this Game 7. If there are any Celtics fans watching this video, though, and you're looking for a bright spot, shout out Derek White, man. Of course, he just had that game winner in Game 6 to keep you guys alive. And in this game, he was really, really good throughout the first half. He was kind of just coasting, doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, scoring, doing his thing. In the third quarter, though, he kind of took over. There was a point, I think he had 8 straight buckets, 2 of them being a really tough and one layups throughout transition. So he had a really good game. If it wasn't for him, you guys would have been probably done by the third quarter, if I'm being honest. So shout out to Derek White. But overall, very, very tough loss for the Boston Celtics. And the one thing that does kind of suck for you Boston fans is now that it wasn't a sweep or a gentleman's sweep, whatever, you brought it to 7. Like, the narrative kind of changes a little bit, at least, on the fact that you're like, all right, are we going to trade Jaylen Brown? He kind of tanked his value probably a little bit throughout his performance right there. There's really 2 ways to look at it. Is, it's, oh, we were 1 win away from making the finals in back-to-back years. But then at the same time, there are certain games and certain, stretches where the Celtics just look super rough, like they shouldn't be an Eastern Conference Finals team. It's really when that 3 ball is not hitting, it's just they settle a lot for it. One more time, though, I do want to give a shout-out to the Miami Heat, the first A seed to make it to the finals since my New York Knicks. So shout-out to them. I hope it's a good series. Part of me is very scared that it's going to be a quick one. I hope not, though. Hopefully it goes to Game 7. Hopefully we have as much basketball as we can to finish this season off. If we don't, though, it was a great one. Hope you guys are excited for the finals. If you want to see my predictions and breakdowns, videos coming out tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. In the description, there's the links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.